Mercy, you finally arrived. Wipe the dust from your shoes and come in, sugar. Your presence will be such a tonic for poor dear Mrs. Beaumont. She's been fanning herself by the window in a state of absolute agitation awaiting you. Now, if y'all can find it in your hearts to indulge us for one fleeting afternoon, we are going to make a brave pretense of having actually paid attention in those drafty schoolrooms of our youth. We are going to cast our eyes upon some literature. Oh, honey, don't recoil like a wilted gardenia. We had that very same visceral reaction, I assure you. But please, don't fret. This won't be some dreary, moth-eaten fourth-grade book report, and it most certainly is not that wretched English 101 paper you ghost wrote for that adorably dull fraternity boy, the one with the jawline of a god and the intellect of a damp brick.
In the humid shadows of the South, music is never merely a matter of meter or rhyme. It is a blood pulse, a haunting choir rising from the red clay and the stagnant swamp water. These melodies are our true inheritance, carrying the weight of a century's grief and glory in the time it takes for a tallow candle to flicker and die. Within the span of a few desperate minutes, a song unearths the same ghosts that Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston, and Jasmine Ward spent hundreds of ink-stained pages trying to exorcise. The secrets they buried in chapters of typeset prose, the family rot, the hidden sins, and the fierce, jagged beauty of our land are all laid bare in the vibration of a single steel string. It is Black History Month, and in the New South, Black history is all of our history. Now, darling, do lean in. The shadows are stretching long over the tabby ruins, and the scent of the tea olive is beginning to whisper things that a proper lady or gentleman would only admit to a priest or a very discreet bartender. I wish to speak to you of a certain Mr. Armenter Chatmon, though the world, in its hurried common way, knew him as Beau Carter. He was a creature of the 1930s, a man who understood that the parlor and the juke joint are merely two sides of the same tarnished coin. You see, in the old stories my grandmother's people told, the ones that traveled the trail of tears and settled in the red clay, there was always a trickster. He was the rabbit who outran the fox, not with speed, but with the silver of his tongue. Beau Carter was that rabbit, dressed in the fine linens of a Mississippi aristocrat, but possessing the heart of a rogue. He played a Bluebird beat, a rhythm as precise as the ticking of a grandfather clock in a house where no one ever goes to sleep. The scene is set with a domesticity so fragile it threatens to shatter at the mere mention of a grocery list, sugar. Our narrator, a real low-country dandy masquerading as a humble gardener, saunters on to the porch. He isn't interested in the weeds in your azaleas, sugar. He's eyeing the centerpiece. He speaks of a fruit basket, but we know, don't we? We know that in the grand, decaying theater of the South, food is never just food. It is the liturgy of the body. He begs to place his banana amongst your pears and peaches, suggesting it stay there until it gets nice and soft. It is a conceit so bold, so deliciously grotesque, that it would make even the most hardened debutante fan herself with a menu. Now, some might say this is merely ribaldry, a fleeting pop hit for the weary of 1931, but those people have never had to navigate the moonlight and magnolias myth while their blood was singing a different, more primal tune. This was Hokum Blues, a coded rebellion. For a black man in the Jim Crow South to speak directly of desire was to invite the noose or the chain. But to speak of fruit, to use the agricultural snapshots of our shared soil, that, my dear, was a masterclass in urban-leaning wit. He bridged the gap between the rural porch and the neon-lit juke joint, turning a mundane kitchen scene into a site of erotic tension that bypasses the senses entirely. It is a sophisticated game of man versus social propriety. He adopts the trickster trope, using the rolling meter of Mississippi speech to stretch his vows until they land right in the lap of temptation. He isn't some passive laborer. He is the architect of his own pleasure, navigating the racial and class dimensions of the South with a virtuosic guitar and a wink that could start a fire in a rainstorm.
Now don't stand there looking at me with those wide, wounded eyes, honey. I can't bear a scene when the humidity's this high. If you're looking for that melody, that sweet, aching little tune we just talked about, it's waiting for you down in the description. It's tucked away like a love letter you weren't supposed to find, but there it is, plain as the moon over the delta. And listen to me, sugar, don't be cruel. Reach out your hand and tap that like icon, and for heaven's sake, subscribe to us. A soul needs a little attention to keep from fading away into the wallpaper, and we've always depended on the kindness of strangers like you.